Let me just introduce myself. I'm Joanna Ong. I'll be interviewing you today. I'm from Venturous PR. And thank you so much for coming on and taking time out of your schedule. Shall we start with the questions?
All right.
So, could you tell us briefly about yourself, where you're from, how old are you?
My name is Grace Chiam. I am originally from Penang. I am 42 this year, and I hold a master's degree in management and marketing. I have been in the hospitality industry for 15 years prior to starting my own PR agency. And prior to that, I was a lecturer for about 5 years. I taught business and also marketing subjects in KDU College and also SEGi College. Yeah.
That's really wide. So, what made you interested in pursuing public relations?
Okay, so I think this started with a campaign that I did with the Penang state government. This was many years ago. It was a dance campaign that we did for 6 months with the state government and also sponsored by Hotlink at that time. So it was my first PR campaign, and what happened was there was crisis management. There was also a lot of content, a lot of partnerships, a lot of events, and it was quite a successful campaign. It brought a lot of media attention, and also it actually challenged us to run a campaign on a very tight budget. So I was quite happy with that. So that actually got me really interested in PR. The second thing that actually made me even more interested was the job offer that I got from Hard Rock Penang. So that was actually my first Marcom and PR role. And because it was such an interesting brand, it really gave me a platform to be creative and to try out different ideas. So I think that was what made me really interested to pursue PR.
See, that's really inspiring. So far, what's been your career experience in brand culture, and what made you start it?
Okay, so in BrandCulture, we are 3 years old. We are based out of Johor Bahru. We are one of the very few PR agencies here. Most of the PR agencies are centered in Kuala Lumpur and also in Singapore. But in JB, I think there are less than 3. So I'm one of the 3. And we have been serving mostly Johorian clients, but we also have clients in Singapore, KL, and Penang.
I see. What's your insight on the current PR landscape in Malaysia?
I think the PR industry is evolving after the pandemic, during the pandemic as well. You will see actually the phasing out of traditional PR and of course the introduction of social media, and also it's getting more digitalized. A lot of clients are still expecting traditional media, not knowing that it has lost the effectiveness compared to pre-pandemic, and also compared to a decade ago. So the industry is really evolving, and there's no one right way to do it or one good way. There will be several ways of being creative. So I do feel that for PR practitioners, we need to really think out of the box.
Yeah, I agree. And also, could you tell us about some of your successful PR campaigns that you've done or managed in the past, or why they were memorable to you?
I have 2 that comes to mind. One would be the grand opening launch of Hard Rock Desaru Coast. So I was part of the pre-opening team, and we were going to launch this new beautiful hotel in Desaru Coast, which is in Johor. So I was PR director then, and I had a small team of four of us. And we had to run a 1-year PR campaign. And one of my success stories is that we were able to achieve over 100,000 followers on social media even before the hotel was open. So before the grand launch, which happened 1 year after the hotel opened, we were able to actually close over 100 online articles or features, and our social media followings was almost 200,000. It gave us a lot of space to explore creativity. We did a lot of merchandise design. We hosted over 50 media titles. We had a lot of media events leading to the grand opening, and we were also fortunate enough to host celebrities and got them to get us media attention lah. So it was a good campaign. The most recent one that I'm quite proud of under BrandCulture is something that we did for Teongnam Group. They are about to launch a new hotel called 1975. We are the agency that helped them with branding, naming the hotel, creating the brand stories, and also hosting the press conference for them. So from the press conference, we were able to get over 300 media features. So it was quite good for us in terms of online exposure. And on social media, we were able to get more than 500 features. So a total of 800 features.
How would you consider PR campaign to be effective?
I would say it has to be cost efficient. Whatever budget that the client has for you, you have to optimize it. And whatever content that the client has or whatever content you have built, you will need to optimize it, repurpose it, recycle it. Just to use whatever that is on your hand. What I would consider something to be effective is also the PR value. So at the end of the day, what is the return on investment? You have spent this much PR dollars. So what is the PR value that you have gained for the client or for the brand?
What are some challenges that you personally face being a PR practitioner?
Okay, so one of the challenges is actually the phasing out of traditional media. Actually lost a lot of its effectiveness, but a lot of clients, because they are so used to having traditional media, so they will still demand for it and require it, and we will still do it, but it doesn't bring as much effectiveness as compared to 10 or 20 years ago. And also the rise of social media and digitalization for PR. The online platforms actually lack stability sometimes. For us that use Facebook a lot and also the other online digital platforms, a lot of times there are bugs that are introduced. I mean, bugs that are on Facebook or bugs that are on other platforms that are out of our control. So this is also one of the challenges that we face that we cannot control.
Oh, I actually never thought of a bug issue before. That's really interesting.
Yeah, actually a lot of bugs. People like regular users don't normally notice it, but we use social media a lot. So when we look at insights, we do see a lot of bugs that happen actually on a weekly basis. We have it. Yeah.
So I just want to ask you a bit about your lecture background. Do you think dealing with students as a PR lecturer or dealing with clients from the industry as a PR practitioner is more challenging?
I think two sets of different challenges. I have always loved working with students. My last experience lecturing in KDU College was very rewarding. A lot of my students are now my friends, and some of my students are even now my boss, like my clients. Yes. Many years ago already. So some of them have been quite successful. The challenges I face with students are maybe the lack of understanding of what they are getting into when you select mass communication or public relations as a subject. And I think it's also because sometimes the syllabus cannot catch up with the evolving industry. So whatever you learn in the books or whatever is taught to you during your lectures actually are a good guideline, but they would not be all relevant when you graduate. And whatever the syllabus that we teach while we are lecturing in college does not always work the same in every industry. So that's one set being for lecturer. Dealing with clients in the industry is also the same because of the evolving industry. So a lot of clients still want and insist to have traditional media, but they want a kind of effectiveness that the traditional media no longer brings. So the challenge is to encourage or motivate the client or the brands to look at more creative ideas.
Could you tell us about some skills that aspiring PR students should have if they want to pursue this career?
Language. Number one is language. So I've been in the PR line for over 15 years. Most common skill lacking that I see when I'm hiring or when I'm interviewing people is language. So writing skills are extremely rare. And also number two would be analytical skills. A lot of fresh graduates that come in actually are not able to analyze, not able to think critically. These two are very important. And also basic self-management, coming on time, how to speak to a client, how to address problems, and lastly is problem solving. It sounds quite generic, yeah, that would apply for most of the jobs that you're looking for. But for PR students, I think all these four that I've mentioned is very important. And lastly is actually communication skills. So if you want to be a PR practitioner, your communication skills must be sharpened, or it must be polished along the way. How you speak, how you write, how you respond in emails, how you stand even, non-verbal communication skills. That is actually the utmost important for PR students.
I see. And back to the language part, how important is it to be bilingual? If you have English, it's good enough, or do you need to be able to speak Mandarin, Malay?
So of course, having English only is of course the first necessity. But because I'm kind of bilingual, I can speak Chinese, but I don't write. So I language-wise, I write in Bahasa. I also write in English. It is really important, right? Especially we're in trilingual country, right? So whenever you meet with the Malay media, sometimes they will say, "Oh, Grace, yang ni macam mana the bahasa Malaysia?" So you need to have all those translation on hand ready, like for your clients, even the position of the spokesperson, for example, the name of the company translated into Mandarin, because a lot of reporters, they want to write. So they want the translation of the brand's name in Chinese. You have to be ready with that. So I wouldn't say you won't be able to function if you're not bilingual, but if you have writing skills or language skills of 2 or 3 languages, it does add to your portfolio. It makes you a more valuable PR practitioner.
Okay. So lastly, last question. Do you have any employment advice for us public relations students? Or like where to go out to? How do we make ourselves look really employable?
I think for me, when I hire, I look for people who, how do I say, are outspoken. So being in the PR field, communication, like I say, is very important. So when you go for the interviews, have your own opinions. Make sure that your opinions are backed up with facts. You have to read a lot, know a lot of the industry that you are getting into. And I think lastly is you really need to enjoy what you do, because it shows when you don't. So one thing for my company is we practice a 4-day work week. So we don't encourage overtime. We absolutely encourage work-life balance. So different from other agencies that I have worked with, different from my previous employment. I've always worked like 12 hours, 10 hours per day. Sometimes I worked 30 days when I was in the hotel. So work-life balance was not in existence. So right now in BrandCulture, we practice 4 days.
That's very interesting because a lot of what our lecturers tell us is that PR is very demanding. You have to work overtime a lot.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's
It is.
Yeah.
But it is manageable. I do feel that for us in BrandCulture, we don't want to follow what the traditional PR agencies are like. we try to be effective, yet we also try to have work-life balance, wherein the employees are happy when they come to work.
Which day of the week do you have it off, actually? Out of curiosity.
Weekends and Mondays are off. So at least Mondays, everybody can, run their errands. But occasionally, we do need to work on weekends when the client demands it. But we will replace it with an off day.
That's very interesting to hear. It's very refreshing. I've never heard of a company with 4-day work weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Many people tell me, oh, you can't do it. No, the PR line is too demanding. Well, it's still demanding. Just we train ourselves to work faster. We use available tools that help us work faster. And of course, we have a large team. For the amount of work that we have, right now we have 16 staff. So if we work 5 days, likely I wouldn't need 16 staff. I would probably need like 8 staff or 10 staff, because we will hire more so that we have the whole team covers each other. Like, okay, this client need more attention, so then we will come over, we try to help. Yeah.
I think that's all the questions we have today. Thank you so much, Grace. Very refreshing.
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity.
Have a good rest of the weekend.